Hello to all of you again. Welcome to another episode of Households of Glory. Just looking at the theme of how do we enable households within worship during this period of uncertainty when we're maybe not able to see each other. Restrictions have somewhat lifted, but how can we just build up one another, encourage and edify one another, and just give our hearts over to the Lord when we're at home or when we can't go out? For some of us, that may be, we may be on our own. For some of us, we may be able to go out and see one another. But really, these are just really designed just to give little nuggets of inspiration and hope. So I really hope it does that. In this next episode, we actually had a Zoom call with the Chanctonbury Church worship community and invited our dear friends Paul and Hannah McClure from Bethel Music just to come in and join in on that for some question and answers. It was a really fantastic time. It was really fun. We really miss them dearly. They're super great friends of ours. And it's hard to do the long distance, but it felt like no time had passed and they really blessed our community. So apologies in advance for the internet interference, which we've all been probably getting quite used to during this lockdown period. So apologies in advance for that. But I really hope again it blesses you, it edifies you and encourages you. And if you're a part of a worship team as well at another church, just let it inspire you again. Take those things that they're going to talk about and just adapt them and plug them into what you do in the church that you serve at. So enough from me, let's go straight over to them and I'll see you on the other side. I mean, you're kind of set up for it in many ways in that, there's the live stream that can just be, there's
right.
That. But what I've been finding is that when this hit, it's like, oh gosh, we need to innovate.
Yeah.
But it seems that I don't think we were innovating. I think that the church was just adapting.
For sure.
That like video, it's already there. We weren't making something new. So we were just
Right.
scrambling to adapt.
For sure.
So what are you guys doing over there? Are you seeing ways to sort of go one step further and actually innovate and actually think of, because this is the new normal.
Right.
And I was looking at some statistics based in England where over 48% of people that normally go to church have stopped going to church or even checking in online. And 28% of those people are like checking out other churches' stuff. So
Wow.
it seems like that there is a massive new normal.
Yeah.
And it feels like that innovation maybe, or trying to actually try and seek out what the new stuff that God is doing. But what are you guys doing, have been doing the last two or 3 months over at
Yeah.
Bethel?
I think you're right. I think we've adapted and we're trying to still have church just online, And so we're still doing Sunday morning services. Drake, who runs Bethel Production, he's got a cool stage set up, and that's been changed, but it's still kind of the same because we've been streaming forever. Mm-hmm. It's really not that different other than there's just no people in the room, which leading worship to a room of no people is kind of great because you just do whatever you want. And like it or not, this is what we're doing. But so we've done that, and then we filmed some midweek stuff. But I know that Eric Johnson, who is our pastor, I know he's been wanting to kind of innovate what church online could look like. And so I don't know that we for sure haven't landed on this is going to be innovative and the new thing, but we're definitely brainstorming, hey, after this, and I think more than just church, like most areas of life are going to say, hey, that was kind of eye-opening. What things from that season are we going to take into our old normal, and how are we going to use technology to obviously further the kingdom, create more community, all those things. So I don't know that we have any answers, but we're definitely trying to learn from this, and not just go back to normal when things go back to normal. How can we use that to do new things? So we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
That's really amazing. I've got a list of questions here for you guys,
Great.
and I totally don't want to take up loads of your time
No, you're good.
as well. So I'm just going to sift through them.
We should get the guys to ask them, and then it's just opens a bit more conversation.
Yeah, totally. So
Great.
I'd like to start. So James Decas is our sort of
vicar.
Yeah,
Reverend.
He's our vicar, Reverend Rector, the big cheese, as it were.
As it were.
As it were. He's the man, and he's just a super incredible guy. I mean, you know, we certainly, especially after everything that happened at the end of 2017, you know, we certainly landed on our feet here in this community under an amazing, you know, and God has been so kind and really good and great with that. And I asked him what questions he might want to, he was going to jump on, but couldn't. But he, I just asked him if he wanted to ask any questions, and he said, and I thought this one was really good, but he said, what are top three, what are like the top three heart characteristics that you desire when you're like things that you're looking for when you're building a worship ministry?
From people?
Yeah, like what are the top three heart characteristics you're sort of looking for within people to build a worship community with people?
For sure. That's a great question. Hannah can share too. I would say obviously we're looking for people who want to join the vision. I think a lot of times as creatives are obviously creative, and they have a lot of drive, and they want to build their thing. And a lot of times people will ask me when they come to worship school and things like that, they'll say, hey, I have this vision in my heart to do this, blah, 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 in my worship department. I'm so excited about this. And I always ask, what does your pastor think of that? And most of the time they don't know, which is a bummer. Or second, they say, well, he doesn't really have a heart for that. And I'm like, well, bummer for you, because you're working for someone, and you're coming under someone else's vision. You're stewarding someone else's vision, which is the pastor. And so I think it's really important as worship people in the church that we have a heart to serve. So I would say definitely humility, servant heart are big characteristics, because again, the main thing we're doing is serving and shepherding. And so we have to have a level of humility for that. I think also on the flip side of that, which Brian has really taught me a lot about, is you know that verse in the Bible that says, if you want the work of an ox, you'll have the mess of an ox. And basically saying, if we want the strength of really good people are probably going to have issues like all people have. And we're going to have to put up with some things in order to have the work of a really strong person and the gifts and the talents and all that. So I think it's not being afraid of dynamic people. And I think Bethel has been a good example of that and taught me a lot about that of hey, you can have really powerful people on the same staff. That's okay. And we can deal with each other's short for each other. So I think obviously you want heart, but you also want people that are equipped for it and talented, and it's okay to demand excellence, whatever that looks like. And then last thing I'll share, this was like exactly the question that someone asked Bill recently. And he said loyalty was his first thing, which I think is so key. We want people that are going to be loyal, and loyalty looks like, hey, I might not agree with you, but I'm still going to sign up to serve, and I'm going to protect you, and I'm going to stick up for you. Loyalty, humility, and hunger. He said, I want someone that's willing to get off the couch and go find food to eat, and not someone that just wants me to bring them a meal. And I thought that was such obviously Bill Johnson. Like, I'm looking for someone that is hungry to advance the kingdom, to advance worship, to advance all those things. So, babe, you got anything to add to that?
It's really good. Yeah, I mean, obviously agree with all those characteristics. And I kind of have more of an outsider perspective probably, because I don't necessarily meet with all the people that come on the team like Paul does. but I get to watch Paul and, obviously working with Brian and Jen and Jared, who's administrative, who's on staff with Paul. I just get to watch their discernment with people. So Paul never like checks off, oh, you're humble, you're faithful, but it's more of looking at the heart, and he's not looking for everything to be perfect. So just getting to watch, I love getting to see all of our leaders just use their discernment with people. I think that's really special, to be able to see, this person, may have this and these issues, but they're working through it, and I see their heart. I see the potential, and Brian and Jen are great at that, just seeing potential in people even before anyone else does. So I kind of have like a different perspective getting to watch that, and it's really awesome, and I think super important as worship pastors to be able to see the golden people even maybe before they don't see it in themselves, and but pastor that and kind of grow them into that.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That's amazing. And so like with that, like with your approach in pastoring like the community, what is it that you guys yourselves look in like a leader like above you that is like pastoring you? What is it that you're sort of trying to gain from a mentor, from someone who you're following, that helps you to release you, so you're able to, does this make sense? So you're then able to then put into the guys that you're mentoring?
What are you looking for from the leader above you? Yeah, I think I want to serve a leader that's empowering, that's not going to micromanage. It's going to, like, I think Brian is especially so good at that, at seeing the gold in someone, genuinely wanting that person to be the best that they can be. And I think that means being open-handed with people. And so you're not trying to control their destiny, and you're okay if they get bigger than you or better than you. I think Bethel has been an example of that, of like, sometimes leaders have leaders under them that are better than them, and that's okay. And so I think I want to work for a leader that's going to see the best in me and want me to not have a ceiling on my life and leadership and ability. And then I think you're looking for a leader that you obviously share the same heart and vision with. I mean, Hannah and I came to the worship school at Bethel in 2010. And the reason we moved here in 2012, 3,000 miles across the country, was because we saw people that were running after the things we wanted to run after. And I think that it's our job, when we sign up to serve on a team, that we do our due diligence in finding out, hey, what are these people about? Do I really want to run with them? Obviously, you're not going to agree on everything, but do I love the vision that they're going after? And we were like for us, we serve Brian and Jen and Bill. Like we would do whatever they asked us. And I think that's the kind of leader you want to work for, that you're like, I am signed up to serve you, whatever that looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, totally. I don't know that I have too much to add to that. Yeah, we moved across the country for that because we saw something that our hearts really connected with. And there's some of the most anointed people that I have ever met. And I think that just anointing and hunger for the Lord, we connected with that, more than we ever had with any other leader. And so, and like Paul says, like, we'll have disagreements, or, that it doesn't mean that you'll agree on everything, but it always comes back to the bigger vision, the bigger picture of, we believe in them. We believe that our job is to serve them, whatever that looks like. So that's what we try to do.
I also think this is like extra, but for even the mentoring word and the discipleship word gets thrown around a lot. Community gets thrown around. And I think that people have the wrong expectations when it comes to mentoring and discipleship. Actually, Luke and Claire, you guys are like the prime example of how to be mentored. And it is being mentored is the mentoree's heart posture first. It's not not the job of a Paul Manwaring to father you. It's your job to be willing to be fathered and put yourself in a position to be fathered. And so you guys were so good about, I've heard so many people complain like, I'm not being discipled or I'm not being mentored. And I'm like, well, that's like, it's mainly your job to put yourself in a position to be mentored. And so I think it's really important when you're looking for a mentor or a leader, am I willing to chase after that person? Luke, you were so good about just being in my life. And it wasn't like okay, when are we going to sit down and you're going to share me the 3 secrets to my life? It's, I want to be around you and learn from you and glean from you by being around you. And so I just think it's important that we have good expectations going into looking for a leader or a mentor.
That's amazing.
That's amazing. And thanks for encouraging. I mean, it's,
Yeah.
I think that's one thing that we learned at Bethel though, right? When we went, it was, I mean, I suppose I categorize it under sonship because,
Yeah.
hey, I know who I am, and like Paul, like he's into coffee. So what am I going to get into? I'm going to get into coffee.
It's real.
You know, hey, if I want to learn how to be a preacher, who am I going to go and hang around with?
Exactly.
If I want to learn how to, I don't know, learn how to stream, I'm going to go and hang around with people like Matt. You know,
exactly.
So I think that was one really key thing for me. Learning to become a son was to actually be willing to be fathered, and
man.
Rather than like have that entitlement that I should be fathered, it
100%.
was like I'm compelled to be a son, and I'm compelled to learn.
That's so good, man.
That's amazing.
So thanks for that, guys. I really love this question. I really love this question. This is from Jacoby. Jack. We call him Jacoby, but
Jack, you can go ahead and ask the question.
Yeah. Do you want to ask the question yourself?
I actually can't remember it.
I've got it written down.
I can find it on my text to you.
I've got it written down. Do you want me to read it out?
Yeah, go for it. Go for it, bro.
What is your approach as a worship leader when you are just genuinely suffering spiritually or mentally or emotionally before going on to lead a congregation? So like before you're
great question.
And you've like, does that make sense?
For sure. Babe, you want to go first?
Gosh, I mean, yeah, I don't think there's any kind of formula for that. Oops, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I had to move to my car because someone started weed eating really loud next to our yard. But yeah, just recalling like some of our own experiences. Thankfulness has always pulled me out of, just seasons of feeling discouraged, or, we've gone into sets where I'm just like, I don't know if I can do this. But I started with thankfulness and just recalling everything that the Lord has done for me. I know like there was a season with Paul and I where it was just a really intense, really hard, going through a lot of counseling, and we were still leading worship. And I just remember like one set in particular going into it and just like, I don't know if I can do this. And I felt like the Lord said, I'm teaching you how to fight. And I'm not like a fighter. That's not my personality. I want everyone to be happy. I don't want to, I'm not intense. I don't want to fight. But I just felt like the Lord was teaching me how to push through that and towards thankfulness when, everything else feels swirly. I feel emotional when it's difficult. But I just feel like there is an invitation in that to press forward and learn how to find this of like, this is important that I worship the Lord now. And, trusting that I still have something to give in that moment to people. Like, it doesn't go away if you're in a hard season, that you have something to give away to people when you're leading worship. So it's definitely, we've been there, and it's definitely hard to do that sometimes.
It just reminds me of we were tuning in for a wee bit of that Instagram live you did with that guy yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
And he was like, you know, as a married couple, and you just like, you've got it all together, and you come and lead worship. And it was like so funny. A couple of Tuesdays ago, this is like letting all of our worship community know. And Luke went
There's a reason why I was streaming on my
Luke
own.
went and recorded worship on his own. And on the Sunday, everyone was texting because we've been the only ones that have been allowed to go in to record in the church.
Yeah.
And so everyone was like, Claire, are you sick? And I was like, we'd had a massive argument. And I was like, I was like, Luke, you're going on your own. And he was like,
that is amazing.
And it got to like 5 minutes before he left, and he just looked at me and was like, are you really not coming? And I'm like, I'm in my pajamas, I'm definitely not coming.
That is amazing.
That's
The thing is,
awesome.
you were a husband and wife, as you guys know. It's like, you know, it looks great when you're on the stage, but you
It's
know,
no joke.
when you've just had a blowout 5 minutes before.
And you
Right.
I feel like I'm very expressionate, so you'd have been able to tell on my face.
Like a Christmas thing, and Claire, we'll sing in Silent Night.
Oh my word, it was
Claire, like, she just did it so out of time, and I like just looked at her like, and we kind of had it on stage.
I was just like,
So funny.
Silent Night.
It's like so.
Ah,
Luke was like,
I
what are you doing? We're having this like argument on stage. We're just like,
Right.
so funny.
I'm just conscious of your guys' time. I'd love to ask you sort of one question.
Yeah, you're good.
Well, it's I don't know how to categorize it under a question, but it's something that I've been feeling, and I'm sure a lot of us. But since this whole thing began, like when this started, I was like super militant.
this
I
being
was,
the virus to me.
yeah, when the virus started, I was just like, right, game on. You know, I was like, come
Yeah.
on, right. You know, we're gonna write some songs. We're gonna like worship this thing out here and all that.
Yeah.
And that, I think that was a really good, like, righteous emotion. Like, I don't feel cool about this. This isn't happening
Mm-hmm.
on our watch, you know.
Yeah.
And out of that, I found that in this season, because I haven't been able to write for the longest time, and still going through like aspects of trauma with losing
For sure.
Sailor and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
so there's so much beauty and gold in that, and real authenticity. But I really feel like there's been like an excelling of like, this is real. God is real. There's no like black or white here. He's very real. And actually, like, this is real Christianity. You know, for you know, centuries, Christians weren't comfortable. You know, they laid down their lives. They lived in like caves or whatever. You know what I mean? Like the first apostles, they just laid down everything. They didn't have a home. They just slept wherever they were. You know, and
Yeah.
there's been, and it's been such a good thing, like such a gift, that there's been so much like peacetime. You know, and you know, even our, you know, generations before us, they didn't really know peace in the same way. That it felt like there was always a fight. There was always, at some point in their life, it like hit, you know, and
Yeah.
it almost, although this doesn't feel like that, it just feels like, for me anyway, there's been like an excelling in like what I'm trying to hear God say, what I need to sing is, because, you know, there's hundreds and thousands and millions of songs, and
Right.
there's thousands of teaching, but what is the song? What are the words that really express this time where, like,
Yeah.
this isn't just in a country, this is global. This is like, we live in the most, it's a very unique time, because
Right.
like now more than ever, like there's an opportunity to see a move, or to see God do something, or, you know. And so I don't know if that's not necessarily a question, but I don't know if you guys are feeling what I'm trying to say. Do you feel like there's something rumbling? There's like a rumbling in your spirit, whether it's words or songs, that you feel God is like wanting to release. Does any of that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think I think for me, when you were talking about what are the right words, what are the right songs, I think this whole thing, I keep wanting to say invitation, but it's not really an invitation. It's like a forced, like you will slow down. We're all forced to slow down. Like you will be still. And I think to me, this whole time is bringing up, have I been going through the motions? And if I have, I am in a place where I can figure out, what do I really want to say? What do I really want to do with my life? Even beyond worship and music, what do I want to do with my life that's actually meaningful? And how many things that got canceled do I look at and think, wow, that was really kind of meaningless, or I was just doing that because you're supposed to do it? And what are the things in my life that I'm really passionate about and the things that really matter? So I don't know if that answers your question, but for me, that's kind of been what this time has brought up of, am I using my time and am I stewarding the gifts and the talents of my life in the best way? But I think for sure there's definitely, I think God is up to something. I think he always is. But I think for me, this time is just reconfirmed. My brother, he has she's almost 2-year-old daughter who had her heart transplant recently. And that's just been like the wildest ride. And it's kind of similar to all the stuff going on right now, is that songs that talk about who God is as a statement of fact are so important. And not to toot our own horn, but we just released a song yesterday called Reign Above It All. And it's like that, which is God reigns. Sorry, can you guys see me? God reigns supreme overall. He's in control still. He's not surprised by any of this. So am I going to lean into, God, what are you doing? Asking those questions, but also singing the truth about who God is, I think is so important at a time like this.
Yeah. That's so
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a rumbling. It's hard to know what is coming out of it. It does feel like kind of a wake-up call, I think, for the church of, reprioritizing, like Paul is saying. And then, I don't know what the Lord is up to, but it definitely feels huge and really important that we, as a church, kind of, stick together and, just in the uncertainty, it feels like church is more important than ever. And family, we've been forced to be together with our family, but just prioritizing. I've just been thinking a lot about, our kids and how important family is for the next generation, even just with the uncertainty of what is the next generation going to look like? Am I preparing my kids to love and to be examples for the next generation? So those are all kind of vague and big things to think about, but it's just with everything going on, I think just causing us to ponder a lot and just I think a lot is yet to be sorted, but it does feel like the Lord is stirring for sure.
Yeah, that's so good. Well, guys, this has been really amazing.
I let Finn ask his question.
Okay, real quick.
We had a repeating question quite often.
Real quick fire. What are good tips for writing songs, like writing song lyrics?
Specifically, song lyrics.
Yeah, like what are great tips for like writing lyrics?
We had the same question, so.
Yeah, that's good.
We're both, I would say Paul and I are both more melody people. We always write melodies first most of the time and then lyrics. But I know most people, or a lot of people, don't do it that way. I think something that's helped me grow as a lyricist is journaling, but honest journaling. Before we did counseling and stuff, like I would journal and it would be kind of, you make yourself look good, even, no one's going to read it, but you're like, just in case someone reads this, I want it to look good, and my life is perfect, and, you know, I love Jesus, whatever. And so in one of our counseling sessions, Jason was like, you need to try honest journaling. Like, you're not being honest and just getting everything out, how you're really feeling. So that was huge for me personally, of just actually getting in touch with where I am and processing through things with words. Another thing I did a book, I can't remember the name. It may just be called Writing Lyrics by Pat Pattinson. And it's just exercises that you do every day. So it just gets you going. You write something new every day. So that's super helpful as far as like very practical growing in your trade. And then just writing with other people, honestly, I would say those are the biggest things you could do to grow.
Yeah.
Who named their kid Pat Pattinson?
That's
what
I feel dumb saying it every time. I'm like,
Paul Paulison.
Pattinson.
What a name. Yeah, that's also good. I would say if you're stuck with lyrics, write with other people. It's been a game changer for me. I majority of the time I write is co-writing, and don't pigeonhole it to have to be someone else who's musical. I've written with people who can't even sing, who read a lot or are theological. So just kind of open up your mind to other people and bring them in, because it's crazy what will happen if you're writing with 2 or 3 people and someone brings up a topic and you're like, oh, I was just thinking about that. And then, or someone has a lyric idea and it goes with an idea you had. So just that synergy and excitement that can be created with other people is so key for songwriting. Because there's nothing worse than sitting in a room trying to write by yourself and not being inspired. And you're like, I hate songwriting. I'd rather do anything else. I've been there a million times. Write with other people.
Mm-hmm.
And Paul and I, we use Google Docs to write, and that's super helpful because I'm so visual. I like to see everything on the page. So we will have a doc that we share between us or whoever else we're writing with, and we can just write out our ideas. You know, some of our songs have pages and pages of lyrics that we end up just editing and putting together like a puzzle, but I like being able to see it. It's helpful for me.
Mm-hmm.
And like Rain Above It All, just to say, guys, it's just fire.
Oh, thank you.
Doing it like the other day. It's just amazing. It's
so good.
Because it's truth, right? He's Lord of all. And even now, like you reign above it all. It's just so powerful. It's like a declaration that, you know, sometimes I declare a lot when I'm writing or singing. I'm like seeing things that I'm just declaring to myself because I need to know it.
Yeah.
It's almost a bit selfish because I kind of want to be a servant first, and write for, you know, more than myself. But I found myself in this season of, you know, I actually need to sing this over myself. I need to, my body, my physicality needs to know what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so I can,
me too.
so I can sing what he's singing, what he's already been singing. You know,
so
guys, this is amazing. Like, what can we just so we can pray for you guys? You know, what can we pray for you guys? Especially at the moment with Bethel Music, with Brian and Jen. Like, what? We asked Bill this the other day because Bill came on an alumni call for the Europe, and he was just like, "Do you know what? We just need power and wisdom, just power and wisdom, because there's so many things that we just don't know what to do, and we need to know the for it. But also we don't want to see people be harmed by this virus. Like we want the power,
right?"
And the wisdom for that, what power we need, you know, to pray this, to sort of, I don't know, see us through this time. But what can we, in that same light, what can we pray for you guys?
Yeah, that's a great question. Bill always has the right answer. I would say for sure wisdom. I mean, even before this meeting, I was in another meeting talking about just I mean, you know, church is hard, and especially church with family, and any ministry related thing is hard. And so definitely need wisdom and need clarity. And I think for me, at least, it's like, I don't want to come out of this just doing the same thing. I want a revelation of how God wants us to do things differently, because this is an obvious timeout he's put us in. So how do we come out of this different and doing things different and not just same old? So clarity and wisdom for sure.
Yeah, I agree with that. I concur.
Guys, it's been seriously amazing to have you.
So fun. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, well, for the rest of the community, guys, if you stay on for a moment, but let's just all wave to Paul and Hannah. Guys, seriously love you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for
Miss you guys.
Thank you for serving us with what you're writing, you know, and you know, just thank you. We love you so much.
We'll catch up soon.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes.
That was super fun. That was absolutely amazing. Again, after Claire and I did that, we were just like, oh, I miss them so much. But really, really glad that we again got to show them off to you, as well as our other friends that we interviewed. Paul and Hannah are such fathers and mothers, and I certainly learned a lot from Paul McClure, as well as I interned for him too. So I actually got 2 mentors, which I was super lucky to have. But I really hope it blessed you. I really hope that you can take what you could out of that, and if you're not in a worship team, just let it encourage you wherever you serve. If you are in a worship team, just let that be a charge to you to go into your church and to serve your leaders really, really well, and to serve your church congregation really, really well too. So that is all for these episodes. I really hope these have blessed you. I really hope that these have just brought so much light and revelation as well. And really, really hoping to do this again soon. So a goodbye from me, and be so blessed in the name of Jesus. See you later.